Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and now we are taking a look at Of Mice and Ten. Now that's the name of the puzzle from Dr. Logic that we're going to take a look at in a second, but I'm sure many of you can see the play on words on the famous novel Of Mice and Men. I'm actually trying to remember the name of the author now. Just give me a second because I actually have forgotten. Who was it? John Steinbeck, was it? Something like that? Yes, it was. It was a fantastic book that I think many of us probably had to study in our secondary school as part of our literature degrees. And you can see clearly in the thumbnail the inspiration of it. I mean, somehow Sleuth was carbon copied. You know, he's got a farmer twin that you can see on the right-hand side. I'm going to say Sleuth is the person that's standing in the middle because that's the kind of definitive signature hat at that point. But you can see clearly the other two are the farmers with their straw hat. That's kind of my explanation of the difference here. But what a fantastic story it was, and I'm hoping it will be another fantastic puzzle from Dr. Logic that will just, stand up to the name. So let's take a look at the puzzle. So, Of Mice and Ten by Dr. Logic. That much was said. And we've got the following rule sets. And you can see why it's been called 10. I mean, take a look at this. 10, 10, 10. Well, 1, 10. Kind of green lines of 10s. Another 1. Another 10. Another 1. Another 10. Ooh, 6 and 12. Almost doesn't belong here, but probably that's the only way to actually help us break into the puzzle. Now, the other thing that I've sort of tried to fix is, you may remember that I was constantly struggling with things sort of flashing in and out of existence, but I'm kind of hoping I fixed it. I'm not entirely sure if I have. I'll carry on recording and see in the next video to try and make sure that I've pinned exactly why it keeps happening. But anyway, I'm distracting everyone. Puzzle. So, normal Sudoku rules apply, so that means the digits 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. Fantastic, we're very familiar with those. Digits along a green German whisper line must have a difference of at least 5. So let's use this one here as an example. This is a 1, already placed for us. A difference of 5 next on the line means it has to be 6 or higher. And then you end up with this oscillation. Let's say this was it can't be a 6 actually, it could be a 7, which would mean this would have to be 1 or 2 to be 5 or more away. Clearly can't be a 1 because it's already placed, and therefore that's why it can't be a 6. Now, what's interesting is you end up with this oscillation of low digits from 1, 2, 3, and 4, high digits 6, 7, 8, and 9, and repeat and repeat. Notice I did not include a 5 in there, and if I place a 5 in here, I'm fairly sure that if you take a look at how can you be 5 or more away, you're going to struggle. Right, what else do we have? Digits in killer cages must sum to the total in the top left corner. So this cage here, which is defined by the dashed line, means these 3 cells, once you sum them up, must get to 10. And there's a few ways of getting 3 cells up to 10, but I can already see that with this placement here of the 1, that there is actually a very specific way of solving this puzzle. Let's keep going, rather than me solving the puzzle for you in this introduction. I'm going to ruin it if you're going to try and play it on your own, so I will move rapidly on. Digits separated by a black dot must be in the ratio of 1 to 2, and not all black dots are given. There's only one of them here I can see in the puzzle in the entire grid. So, for example, if this was a 4, it would mean that this would have to be in a 2 to 1 ratio or a 1 to 2 ratio, which would be 2 or 8. So either multiplying by 2 or dividing by 2 to get to the 4. Digits around the outside with an arrow show the sum of the digits along that arrow. So these are called little killer clues, which you may be familiar with. And all that's saying is these 2 cells, which are pointed to by this diagonal, once you sum them up, must sum up to 10. Same in here, summing up to 10. And in this case, summing up to 6. So 2 and 4 would work, for example. 1 and 5 would also work just fine. What else do we have? Digits around the outside without an arrow shown show the sum of all the digits between 1 and 9 in that row/column. Now I can only see one such digit, which is this 0, and this is typically what you would see referred to as a sandwich clue. And essentially what this 0 is saying is that if I place a 1 in here, that the digits between the 1 and the 9, however many they may be, such as these, must sum up to whatever this value is. So the fact that it's 0, it means that the 1 and 9 have to be next to one another because there's clearly no 0 digits that you can place between them that would sum up to 0. And that's all the rules we have for today. So if I haven't already spoiled the puzzle for you, you want to go down memory lane and remember of mice and 10, link will be in the description down below as usual. And with that said, let me restart the clock and see how I get on. So I kind of gave quite a few spoilers, if I'm honest. This 10 cage, I think there is only one way of solving it. Now, I cannot use a 1. And if I don't put a 2, it'll be 3, 4, and 5. We're already at 12, we've broken it. So you have to have a 2 in this 10 cage, meaning these two digits have to add up to an 8. 1, 7 is not available. 2, 8 is not available. The only remaining digits that are available are 3, 5. So this is a 2, 3, 5 cage. Notice this 10 tells us this is not the 5. Otherwise you would have had to have 5 and 5 in here to get to 10. That clearly doesn't work. So we have 2, 3, no 5s, and therefore we have 8 and 7. 8 and 7 pencil mark to allow us to get to 10. What else do we know in here? We can color this German whispers line. Remember how I said it oscillates between low digits, which I will show as blue, meaning 1, 2, 3, or 4, and high digits, meaning 6, 7, 8, or 9. Because of this one already being placed, we actually know the color of this. So we can, for a change, color these German whispers lines rather than actually try and guess what they all are. Now, last thing that I'm thinking about is actually this 10 cage and this 12 cage. And I'm actually thinking about them in combination. Now, a 10 cage with a 1, you can still complete in quite a few different ways. I could do 2, 7. I could do 3, 6. I could even do 4, 5. However, a 22 cage of 6 cells is shockingly restricted. Now, if you try and sum the digits 1 to 6, which is the minimum, so if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the absolute minimum, you will get to 21. Now, we're not after 21, we're after 22. So I think the only thing that means is the 6, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, normally would be to get to 21, but I have to actually get to 22, so no 6s, it's a 7 instead. And this helps because now I know that there is a 6, 8, and 9 in the middle here. Notice all of these high digits means that this is a 7 surrounded by a 1, 2, and that's actually my first digit in under 3 minutes. We have 3, 4, 5 in here. Now the 1 is gone. Now this can still be 2, 7, and then 3, 4, 5. This could also be 4, 5, and then 4, 5, and then 2, 3, 7. I think there is a digit that's definitely down here, isn't it? Well, probably this 6 is actually what's telling me. So I said it could be 4, 5, or 2, 7. Well, so 3 is definitely down here, is what we're saying. And that makes sense. 1 plus 3 would actually get us to 4, and then I need a 6, which I cannot use. It's already taken up. So the 3 is definitely down here. It's definitely not on the 6. Otherwise, we'd have the same problem with the double 5. This would have to be a double 3. So this is not the 3. Now, this can only be 1, 5, or 2, 4. That's not 1, therefore that's not 5. because of this one here. 1, 2, and 4. This one is actually removing the 1 and 5 totally. This is a 2, 4 now. And if I have 2, 4, I feel like I should be able to solve this. I'm thinking this through. So there's a 3 in here. If I put the 7, I can do 3, 7, and 2. That's fine. I haven't broken anything. And then I would put 4 and 5 up here. Now, if I'm using 3, 4, 5, that would be 3, 4, and 5 with a 2 and 7 up here. That also feels fine. So I'm not sure I'm further forward, if I'm honest. I can tell you based on that 0 clue that this is not the 9 because there is a 7 next to it, not a 1. Not very helpful though. Maybe have a think about what these are. Not sure. 2, 3, and 4 are already placed. This is a 1. I can place that, which isn't helpful because 1 is the least restrictive, because this can even be a 6, 8, or 9. And I can definitely have a 6 in here with 2 1s around it. So not very helpful at all, if I'm honest. What about this? This is 2, 3, or 4. I mean, this is also 2, 3, or 4, no 1. That means 2 and 3 is the minimum in here. So that's 8 or 9. And this could be 7, 8, or 9. 2 is the minimum. This is 7, 8, or 9 again. Kind of thinking about this black crop key. It's clearly meant to be significant. I'm just not seeing it. This is 7, 8, or 9. We talked during the introduction about how this cannot be a 6 because that would require a 1 in here, and I've already placed the 1. I'm going to color this. I'm also thinking that this is 8 or 9. Can't be a 6 because that would be a 1 in here, but also 1 in there where it would repeat with the cage. And this is 2, 3, or 4. So 8, 9, 6, 8, 9. It's just not enough though. I'll take a look at that. I'm just blind. 1 and 2. This is already a 4. This is a 2. I already have a 2 and a 3. That's 5. I need the 7 to join it to actually get to 12. I need 7, the digits, rather than the color, and 4 and 5 up here. That means that's not a 4. And yeah, I was always able to solve this. Sudoku by blindness, wasn't it? I think there was one of the comments about how I often miss some of those obvious things. Look at this 5, eliminating 5s from everything except this cell. That's the 5. Which also means this is from 6, 8, and 9. Not sure I wanted to necessarily pencil mark this, but I will. So 1, 4 is gone. So once again, this is either a 2 with a 7. I was going to say 3 and 6, presumably, but not 4 or 5. So I'm still pencil marking this because I'm actually thinking about the 10 now. If that's a 2, that would be an 8. If that's a 3, that would be a 7. If that's a 6, that will be a 4. If that's a 7, that will be a 3. So essentially, if this is 2, 7, this will be like kind of almost like 1 up from that. Not very helpful description there, but I think you guys know what I mean by that. 4, 5, that was there for a while. Take a look at that. That couldn't have been 5 for the same usual reasons. That would have required double 5s. Not possible. 4 and 5 and 6. That's not a 6. We've essentially done 8 and 9. The only digit that's remaining is a 3 in here, making this a 2. Not helpful because that leaves that as a 7, but hey ho, what can you do? And then we have a 7 in here with an 8, 9. This 6 eliminates nothing. Nothing's really eliminated, is there? I'm fairly sure I'm going to be able to determine the color of this line soon. I don't know if it's blue or red, but I know it's alternating parity. Is parity the right word? No, parity is odd and even, but essentially it's alternating between high digits and low digits. I don't know which one it is. I just know that these two are of the same polarity I'm going to use. Now, they could be both high, they could be both low. It doesn't really get us. Can they both be low, actually? Because 2 and 3 are already taken, and the 1, which would make this impossible to fill. They would have to both be 4 somehow. Because 2, 3 are not available, 1 is not available. Orange is high. Purple is low. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the 1. Sorry, 2, 3, and 4 isn't what I mean, meaning that this has to be a 1. 4 actually has to be here now because it's eliminated pretty much everywhere else. So that's the 4. 5's already placed, meaning that this is a high digit. Now these could be basically anything, but they do have a 6 because I've already got 2 high digits, meaning that these are 2 and 3, and these have to have a 6 with something else. So 6 is 6, meaning there's another 6 in here as well. Look at that. These are from 2, 3, and 4. Eliminating 2 and 3 from here, that's a 5. That's not a 5 either, that's 2 or 3. Also eliminates 2 and 3 from here, and 6 and 7 from there. Because this is low, it can only be joined with a 7 or 8. So all of these are now low highs. Now, I think there's a few obvious things I can do. That can't be a 4, this can't be a 4, this is the 4, this is the 9. I feel like this has to be the 3. And why am I feeling that? Because it needs to be surrounded by 8 and 9. If that's the 3, I've broken the puzzle. And yeah, there is no other way for the 4 to be placed, or the 9. So 3, 8, 2, and 6 or 7. That gives us this 8, and this gives us this 6. That's actually a 9, we know that. That's also a 9. These are not 9, and I don't need the corner pencil marks anymore. That's 7 or 8. 7 or 8 again. This is 6, 7, or 8. I don't know if I want to pencil mark that. I put 6 in here. Yeah, 6 needs to be down there. I haven't placed 5 anywhere. This is 5 and 6. And this digit is essentially whatever this is, because I need to be able to complete this with 4, 7, 8, and 9. Now there's a 4 for sure. I don't know where it is. There is 2 from 7, 8, and 9, and the third one is in here. Now this digit, whatever it may be, it's not in here. It's not in there because all of these are low. It's not the 5 or 6 because it's 7 or 8. It's here. That's not a 9. 7, 8 pair. That's the 9. That's 6, 7, or 8. I mean, it's a very rich puzzle. You know, every time I look around, I feel like yes, I have dropped a clue somewhere. I've just missed. And there's so many places where that just feels like it keeps happening again and again. So, very rich and dense puzzle. Just, you know, looking around for obvious things. That was 6 or 8. I had an 8 looking at it. That's not a 6, obviously, now. You know, you've got now an 8-9 pair that I'm sure I'm going to forget about. This 3 is taking a look in here. So I really do need to do a bit of tidying up in general. We now have an 8-9 pair. What else? I mean, I'm sure this black crop key dot will become useful in a moment. The 0 was very helpful, wasn't it? Because, yeah, I fixed all of these. Now I need somewhere where the 1 and 9 can be adjacent. So it's not here, because that's not 1 or 9. It's not there, it's not 1 or 9. It's not there, it's not 1 or 9. This is the only place that's left, actually. 9, 1. And therefore this is all the high digits done, isn't it? 5 can't be in here. So this is from 2, 3, 4, and 5, and clearly this is not a 5. Now if that's a 2, that could be 1 or 4. If that's a 3, that can be a 6. And if that's a 4, this has to be an 8. Way too many options still. I'm going to leave it as it is. I may even actually delete it if I find that there's just a plethora of not very useful information right now. 7, 8 pair. 6 is not here. 6 is there. 7 is here. I need 4 and 5, and I can't place them at the moment in here anywhere. So what clues have I not used yet? I've kind of used the 10s. This 10, I've used this 6, I've used this 12, I've used this 10, I've used this 10, I've used this 10, and that one. I've kind of used the German whispers to a large degree. That can't be a 4, that's just amateur, really. Because obviously that would require a double 9. So I've largely used most of the clues, except this black crop key. And I feel like I'm not using all the information I've been given at this point. Just need to concentrate a bit and just probably stare a bit and see what am I missing. Such as, this is a 4-7 pair. This is a 5-6 pair. 7 and 8, that means this is 2 or 3 to match this 2 or 3. So we've got column 1 covered in pairs. That's not a 7, that's 6 or 8. Which also means I have a 6 or 8 with something, a 5. That's the 5. That's the 6 or 8. And that's the 2, 3. Excuse me. Excuse me. So I know I have a 1 in here. Potentially joined by a 7, a 2, a 3, a 4. Just too many options. Just there's a 1 in there for sure. Covered almost all the high digits. Almost. There's another high digit with a 3 in here. There's a 3 in there. Therefore, that's not a 3. I know I've got a 5 in here. And an 8. So that's not 8 either. So there's a 5 and 8 in here. It's not very helpful, if I'm honest. I feel like I'm missing something that I just need to see. German whispers, maybe. Such as, a 2 can't be next to a 6. That's the 7, that's the 6, that's the 8, the 2, the 3. Goodness, the 7, the 3, the 6, the 8, the 2. Have I actually got any more? Not yet, but I'm sure I've got more. Yep, 4 9s surrounded. And that's now 3, 6, I believe. What do we have in here? 1, 3, and 7. All of it still available. What about here? Shockingly, the 7 and 8 are still available. Nope, they're not. That's the 8, that's the 7. These are not 7s. I can lose the corners. This was a repeat of whatever this is. I really got everything out of this? Almost, I feel. Almost. What am I missing? This 9 is looking at this 8, 9. That's not an 8, I said, because there's no 2. Therefore, this can't be a 4 anymore. That's 2, 3. That helps us. That's now 4, 5 pair. 2 would go with a 1 or 4. 3 would go with a 6. All of which seem viable for now. It does tell us that this is a 3 now. This tells us this is not a 9. This is 7 or 8. And the 7 or 8 would actually help us figure out whether it's a 2 or 3. I still need... Yeah, there's a lot of unresolved things in here, but it's sort of very dependent on whether it is what these are. So I'm going to just keep going for the moment and look elsewhere. 7, 8, 9. Well, that's not a 9. That's not a 4 either. That was known. We've got a 4 and 9. Again, that's a 4. That's the 9. That removes the 4 from here. So it's a 2, 1, or a 3, 6. 9s are all done. 8 gives me the 7. Unfortunately, leaving both the 2 and 3 available. That's not an 8 down here. This is 3, 5, or 6, isn't it? I mean, it can also be a 2. I actually do need a 2. The 3 here, which was there for a very long time. I don't even know why I pencil marked this. That's the 1, that's a 7, because we've actually got a 7 staring at it. This was 2, 5, and 8. Except that's not an 8. This 1 gives me now the 6, the 3, the 2, the 2, the 3, the 5, the 6. I think we're pretty much at the home stretch now. The 4, the 5, the 4, the 3, the 6. This is the 8, the 2. Yeah, we're pretty much there. This is now a 5 by the looks of things. Therefore, that's a 6. That's a 4. 8. 5, 7. And if I've not made any mistakes, 1. And that's the solution to today's puzzle. I mean, to be fair, I think I made this actually look harder than it really is. It is definitely involved. I think, the break-ins, yeah, the 2, 3, 5 is a given. The break-in in around here was pretty elegant. And then somehow I just had Sudoku blindness and just kept missing really obvious clues. So I'm not sure this would have taken most of you 20 minutes. This is probably more like a 15-minute puzzle, but a phenomenal puzzle nevertheless from Dr. Logic. And to be fair, they all have been, so I'm not entirely surprised. I hope you enjoyed today's puzzle and today's video. And as always, looking forward to reading your comments and seeing you back for the next one. Bye for now.